really make a difference in what type of ball player that you are. And there's three things that it really came down to. And the first one is just desire. You've got to love the game, right? That's anything you do. Whether it's you're a golfer, whether you're a school teacher, you've got to love what you do. You don't have to love what you do to be successful, but it helps. I mean, if you love baseball, it's going to mean all the difference in how much effort you put forth and the kind of dedication that you have. I mean, so just think about that. I mean, that's something that you develop over your lives. Most of you guys have been playing since you were probably 5, 6 years old. I mean, you got to have that passion. You got to have that love for the game. You got to have to want to improve, right? I mean, it's not just about coming out to practice and coming out to ball games. You got to mentally commit yourself to wanting to do the things to get better. And then the second thing that's really important is just then you've got the desire. You got to have the dedication. Again, don't just equate this to baseball. This is anything. You got to have the dedication to put the time, to put the effort in to improve, to recognize what your opportunities are and what your strengths are. It's all about building on your strengths and trying to bring those opportunities, up to par, right? So, I mean, I think when we had that meeting at that first meeting we had at DBAT that night, I went around the room. I had every one of you guys write down what you felt like your biggest opportunity was in baseball and what your strengths were in baseball. I mean, that's the kind of thing you've got to always be playing in your mind. And then once you determine what those weaknesses and strengths are, work on them. Build on those strengths and work on the weaknesses to improve your game. That's how you get better. That's how you become better ball players. We don't have any ball players on this team that are just God-given, natural athletes, 6'3", 215-pound 14-year-olds who are just going to go out there and just naturally are gifted at the game and they don't even have to try. It just comes natural. We've got some good athletes on this team, but you guys have to work hard at it. You got to put in the extra effort to bring yourself from a competitive level up to some of those players that might have more, just natural abilities, right? And I guess as far as dedication is just learning the game. It's not just about the physical part of the game, guys. It's just, we talked all season long about just the mental aspect of the game, knowing what you're going to do with the ball, knowing the situation. Don't just know your position in the field. If you're a first baseman, know what role the third baseman has, the shortstop, the catcher. I mean, you've got to know everything. And you don't just learn that by practice and playing the game. I mean, it's going online. Look at some baseball websites. It's watching Big League Baseball on TV. I mean, you got to do those things. You got to have that desire. You have that dedication, and just again, you got to want to learn and make the effort to learn more about the game. It's going to help you become better ball players. And probably one of the most important things, the last thing, is just having a positive attitude. We had a lot of adversity this season, right? I mean, a lot of tough games. That one yesterday, that one hurt more than. I mean, I had to go home and mow the grass. But anyway, just no matter how tough things get, you always have to have a positive approach in the game. When you have that tough play in the field, when you have a tough at bat, maybe you don't have a great day on the mound as a pitcher, you've got to be able to just turn it off. I mean, you can have that one moment of being frustrated with yourself, but then it's over. You got to go out and play your position in the field. You got to go into that next at bat and be completely focused on what you're doing, right? Can't explain or stress how important that is. Just being coachable. These are things that when you guys get to high school, the hustling part of being positive and having a great attitude, knowing the ball game, like we talked about, just dedication to learning, all those things your coaches are going to pick up on that just like that. They're going to see it. They're going to see what you do when you're leaving the dugout to go out on the field. Are you walking out? Are you just jogging? Are you sprinting out on the field? Are you that player that's going to go to the coach and say, Coach, I've been working on my work in the outfield. I know I generally play third base, but I really want you to give me a shot in the outfield. You got to be able to step up and do that. Mom and Dad aren't going to do that. I can tell you right now, if Mom and Dad go to a high school coach and complain about playing time, they complain about, Johnny should be playing second base. If anything, that's going to be a negative against the player. I mean, with a lot of coaches, that's how they're going to approach it. You guys have got to step up and be the ones to go to your coach and say, look, Coach, I've been working on this, or maybe it's you go to your coach and say, what do you see as my biggest opportunity, Coach? Here's what I see, but I want to know what you see. What have you observed? Coaches love that. They love when they see you taking the initiative to go up and ask them, what can I do to improve, Coach? What can I do to get more playing time on this team, right? Remember that stuff, guys. You guys are all going to be in high school here in about 6-7 weeks. Remember that stuff. I guess one of the last things is just be aware as a baseball player, this is not an individual sport, right? It's a team sport. From an attitude standpoint, everything you do, the attitude, whether it's what kind of attitude you have in the dugout, what you have on the field, what you're saying, what you're not saying, the rest of your team, that has an effect on your teammates. Be positive. If you're that player that's always upbeat, cheering on your teammates, high-fiving your teammates when they bunt that runner over, and do something good in the game like that, that's contagious. That rubs off on other players. I've told you guys all season long, it bugs me to no end to see a player do a good thing, whether it's sacrifice fly, we got a runner on third base, they hit the ball to the right side to get the run in, and the batter comes back to the dugout and everybody's just sitting there. First of all, that tells me you don't understand the game, and the other thing is you don't care. So that kind of goes back to every one of those things. It goes back to desire, dedication, and attitude. You've got to know the game, you've got to appreciate the game, you've got to support your team. This is a team sport. All right? All right, last thing, and I'll quit preaching. It's being accountable for your actions. And this kind of goes back to the whole coaching thing. No coach wants to hear an excuse for anything. Oh, coaching, I had dirt in my eyes. Oh, that pitch was 6 inches outside, coach, and I couldn't hit that. You blame everything on somebody else. Whether it's the umpire's fault, it's the other player's fault. It's, the second baseman was blocking the baseline. They don't want to hear that. You go out there and give 100% every single game, play the game hard. If you don't do something well, if you don't pitch well, it's not because there was a problem with the mound. It's because you just didn't have it that day. Own up to what you did wrong, and learn from it and come out and do a better job next time, right? Again, coaches do not want to hear excuses. Be positive. Be positive. Always focus on what you can do to get better. If something bad happens, you get it behind you. You hustle. You get back out there and do it right the next time. All right? That's all I've got. That's my speech. And that's all. I mean, that's